the report believe that people with disabilities, demand there should be some sort of inclusiveness. But let's get back to our guest in the studio. I'm talking about Dr. Ikemefuna Nnamani. He's the Publicity Secretary, NMA, Enugu State. Nice to have you. Good morning.
Same here. Thank you very much, Belinda.
Welcome. So today we're talking about stigma on the physically disabled. What forms or what are the forms of stigma being experienced by people with disability?
Well, generally, there are numerous of them, but it's also worse in our own environment because when you talk about stigma, now in this case, stigma means a negative scar, a kind of mark, okay? It's coming from the general public, and now a very serious one coming from the inability or inadequacy of some of our amenities and facilities. Now, these people with disabilities have been stigmatized in different ways. There is social avoidance. They come in a social gathering, they're not given the opportunity to join and do what others do. Okay, I remember when I was serving in Abuja, NYC camp, there was this lady with an amputee of one limb. She was prevented from being part of the parade. She insisted she wanted to join the parade, and by the time she was there, she created this awareness. People loved her, and from there she got sponsored and she got a prosthesis for the leg. Okay, so they also have discrimination, which is exactly on the report that we just saw now. You see, they are not allowed to do some jobs just like others, jobs that they could actually do. Then stereotyping, you see some cases when you just see somebody with, for instance, speech impairment, and you be like, this person definitely has other problems. So these are some of the challenges that we have in this society.
Okay, so how does it affect, their self-esteem and mental health?
Oh, it does. It does. When the environment seems like it doesn't accept you, not necessarily because the people there hate you, but because they don't know how to react, how to behave around you, because it's not something they are used to. It makes them become there's what we call internalization. They move in, they just keep to themselves because they don't know what the next reaction with the next person by the side would be. Sometimes they tend to even be depressed. Okay, now they are dealing with two things. It's one thing to have this disability, and another thing to feel that by the environment they make you feel like it's a crime. It's you remember in those days when they used to, we've never known what is what they call it, genotype, sickle cell, for instance. So you see, when they become sick, the next moment they are okay, the next moment they are sick. People call them obanje in this our area, and they dump them in one bush. So imagine what that person could be going through just because the person was sick, and sickness the person never brought upon themselves. So it's actually is a big challenge for them.
This is really sad, Charles.
Yeah,
I don't know whether if you've ever seen or had done any business with a disabled person.
I of course. I mean, I have severally, really. I just wanted to find out from you, how much of neglect do you think that the society neglect or care? Because again, I don't want to just go straight with sweeping comments about the society has really neglected them. But do you think the society has really neglected these people?
I think so. Yes, I think so. Growing up, you could tell how many primary schools facility do you have? Do you know growing up that has provisions for blind people or people who are deaf? How many? How many times do you go to markets or public places, and just like we have in the Europe, in the Western world, and they say this place is for disabled people? So we can't overemphasize the depth of
Neglect.
Yes, that we have done to them in our society.
It does also look like the laws haven't really done so much. What, do you think the laws have actually done so much?
I agree with you. I think that's even where the main problem is, because when you talk about public places, it's the government that regulate these places, and if they consider these people, then the issue coming from other people, the populace, will not be that much. Now we have our good governor doing a lot in Enugu State, but I don't see those roads where they also mark some
Places.
points, recognizing these people. Or when you enter a particular bus and they say, this, imagine somebody on wheelchair entering minibus, for instance.
Wow.
So it has to start with them first.
So you think that the laws of the country haven't really done so much, or the government have totally neglected such, those
I think
people?
both the law and the government of the day completely neglect these people.
So what do you think can be done beyond the law, beyond the people who rule over us? Because again, it's not just about the government who have neglected them. What about the people who have their friends, their brothers, their sisters, all around them? Because again, this is also very, very, very important.
Yes. To be, in all honesty, our society neglecting these people wasn't something planned. Okay, it also boils down to a lack of education, awareness, just like we're doing today, lending voice to the disabled and the stigma they face. So I think it's something we should improve on. It doesn't have to be only once in a year when they say disabled day to remember the disabled. No, it's something that we should do often. Now we have outreach program all over the place. People are ready to give back to the community. So we should also consider this and make it part of what we learn out there, so that people begin to know, people begin to create more awareness to these people. We have, like we in the hospital, we have series of cases where people come in with critical illness, with a lot of complications, and it's because the family had neglected the primary disability in those their kids. And by the time they're coming to the hospital, you see that it's now beyond the primary problem. So if we do this, we should go down to families, even their caregivers, so that they also understand how to take care of these kids.
Talking about families, we get some people who have a disabled person in their family, especially someone who is blind or someone who is crippled. As days run by, as years go by, you see them getting disappointed, you see them getting tired of the whole situation in terms of costs, in terms of energy, in terms of everything.
Yeah.
How can they play a vital role? What roles actually do you think they should play in making sure that still, contribute to reducing stigma for those in with disabled?
Now in doing this, even the disabled and we that are assumed to be okay, we both have roles to play. Okay. Like I said earlier, it's not that the populace wants to just be against these people, but it's just the way we understood. Imagine looking at somebody with a deformed facial face, for instance, and you definitely look at that person twice. Be like, you could get lost in gazing on that person. It makes them uncomfortable. We were not. It's not something we were used to, so we had to look twice. So it's not something that you could say I did because I wanted to make the person look bad. Okay, so now we have to, as we raise awareness for we the populace who are assumed not disabled, even the disabled need to do a lot on themselves too. There is disability pride. Sometimes they take advantage of their disability, and because they think the whole world or the environment is against them, they shove in and they try to now attack. So they also have to be educated on understanding and accommodating the society on that. Secondly, internalization, for instance. You don't have to give up. You don't have to give up. You have to push. During that my NYSC campaign, if that lady never came out to insist and join the parade, despite the fact that she had one leg and a stick, a walking stick, she wouldn't have had the opportunity to get the robotic prosthesis they gave on the leg. Okay, so you see, she won because she didn't give in. She came out and she rode with others. So this way, we are both contributing to ending this whole disability stigma.
And talking about access to infrastructure, maybe even employment specifically, like one person was talking during the report that, you hardly see employers, employ people who are even disabled. They say people who are abled, don't have jobs. It's you that is disabled that will want to be given the jobs.
They need so. Well, on that, it goes down to what we said about the government regulating these things. I know that back in the UK, there are jobs you can't be given. You have to. They will tell you, no, this is for this kind of people, this category of people. Now that is government regulating these activities. Okay, around Rangers Avenue, even up to early this year, there was this guy. I think he was an amputee in a wheelchair with POP cast on the other leg, and he was selling canned water. Now I was impressed. I keep buying water from him even when I wasn't thirsty. But now, this particular guy, we could say, okay, somebody could have a shop and say, come over here. This is for this person. He had challenges on the limbs, lower limb. He never had challenges on the hands. He could use them to give change, get money. He could work at the cashier's office. He could work in different places. So it's important we consider these people even in the society. No matter the turnover, we should consider them. They wouldn't be even the challenge for the turnover. The brain is intact. The consciousness is there. The intelligence is there. So they shouldn't pose that challenge.
How much do you think we're losing by neglecting this crop of people?
We are losing a lot. Human resource, the benefit of human resource, if well utilized, cannot be overemphasized in a growing country. So we are losing a lot. At the end, you see them on the streets. When you go to Holy Ghost, you see them there. When you go to, it became an activity now. They are forming community against the normal activity now because they feel rejected, dejected. So they have to come together to form this. And in doing that, they are constituting more nuisance for the people who are not intelligent or learned. So we are losing a lot in that case.
A lot of people would say, just open one center for them, let them just be there, and then, give them food and give them what they want. Is that a style of making them feel accepted by the society, or do you think that move isolates them from society?
I will cite Enugu because we are in Enugu. Mm-hmm. I know that a governor did something like that before, packing them to somewhere. When they see you begging on the streets, they take you somewhere. If I'm correct, I think it was during Sullivan's time or so.
Yeah.
Yes. How did that help us? It didn't. Okay, it didn't. So it's important we start preparation for these people. It's not one plan you just do. No, you have to make your plans on ground. You start from primary school days, teaching them, getting them to understand. When a young boy have this mentality that I want to be a CEO, I want to own my own job despite my disability, that person cannot be on the streets. The person cannot be on the street. Because when you value yourself, you remember your security. Okay? When you look at, this is who I will be. That's why I look beyond my disabilities. The person cannot be on the streets. So it's important we look at it. It won't help us if we just say pack them to somewhere. No. They are going to grow in number. They are going to form a community and they will rebel one day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, who then gave that advice for them to be packed somewhere?
Well,
if that is not a solution of some sort.
I don't know, but I cited this because it's something I'm aware of. Okay, and going forward in our world today, it's not an option. It shouldn't be an option. It won't help us. It will not help.
When you say people, they need to be educated, they need to be sensitized on how to handle, or how to speak up, on how not to, give in to whatever they are going through. How much of this sensitization is going on? Because we see these people at home. How are they being fetched? One thing is, to say, well, they need this, they need that. Now, you are I think you're the secretary of
Publicity secretary.
yes, publicity
of the Nigerian
secretary.
Medical Association,
Exactly.
Enugu State,
So,
yeah.
is there any form of empowerment you're doing, outreach you're doing to, you know, make sure you reach out to those in villages, those in their house, they are not coming out? How much of the empowerment is going on to make sure they are brought out and then properly sensitized on what to do and how to handle themselves?
Okay, when you come to the hospital, you would know that we are doing a lot. In antenatal clinic, for instance, before the patients come to see the doctors, they take them on health education. In pediatric clinic, we call it CHOP, Children Outpatient Department, they give them lectures on, you know, the whole dreadlock thing, dada, and different names they call it, until we see nta, and all that. These are how they breed some disabilities that are man-made. They are not the way the babies were born, and these are things that could be treated. At that stage, there's a lot the hospitals are doing, okay? In my own department, in the adult emergency department, we keep talking to them when they come in with different of these cases. I also know that neuropsychiatry, which is another place where this stigma is really eating up the system, they do a lot, but that's not enough. It's something we have to take to schools, primary schools, secondary schools. It's important we get a way to send this information, build these people from the foundation, yeah? So it will now be easy when they've grown to understand. So I don't think there is much the society is doing on this, but there's little, even the hospitals are doing, but it's not enough. It's not enough.
Okay, do you think training of those who are disabled themselves is also important? Because sometimes when they find themselves in those situations, they just think that's the end of the world. They can't compete with those who are abled. They just, you know, recluse themselves, and they become saddened with the society, even though the society didn't make them the way they are. Do you think that they also requires a major kind of mind shift of training that could help them, you know, overcome this thinking and these thoughts?
Okay, let's look at it this way. Whoever they are at adulthood, adult stage, is a complication of what would have been prevented. So their training shouldn't have even been a special thing, a special preparation. It's supposed to be just like you and I. When our parents gave birth to us, they knew we were definitely going to go to a nursery school. We're going to go to secondary school. We're going to continue to university as God provides the finance for that. That same way it should be for the disabled, according to what disability they have. Okay, so it shouldn't be something we should be discussing. Is it important to train them? Now, I also wanted to look at disabilities as a medical problem. Every situation that you can take down to the body is a medical problem. So when these problems are neglected, they build up to social personality, mindset, and then it becomes a social-cultural problem in the society. Okay? Let me talk about some stigma, disability stigma, like schizophrenia. Generally in our society before now, majority believe that these people are just mad. It is not a regular medical problem. It's just, they are just crazy, okay? Because it's not a heart disease or diabetes. But they forget that these diabetes and heart diseases build up to that condition. If you treat the body, the particular organ that is involved, you won't have that manifestation going forward, okay? Now, schizophrenic patients, people believe they are crazy, they are violent, but they are not. If you look at it, you see that they are actually scared. They are scared. They are scared of the environment. They are scared of things because their brain is misinterpreting activities. So if you approach them this way, you see that that's why when you come to neuropsychiatric hospitals or wards, you see that they know how to communicate with their patients, and you'll be surprised. But when they come home, they are behaving crazy, and they chain them, they do all sorts of things to them. So these are complications of medical issues that had been neglected because of ignorance in the environment.
Wow. Interesting conversation, really. Doc, many thanks. We're out of time.
I really appreciate it's my pleasure.
Thank you for your time. All right, we'll be linking you to our Abuja studio for the continuation of Signature Morning. My name is Belinda Mobodo.
My name is Charles Pius. Good morning.